Oh. Okay, how we can make bigger enemies.
To be offended or frightened of everything.
So you've become like the sort of Tony Scarface of podcasting.
And good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to the morning show. Thank you for being here. A lot of fucking around over here. People forgot links, posting shit, last minute setups.
I was distracted by Ted's big dick.
Thank you all for tuning in. We appreciate you. Head on over to patreon.com/Pantelis for all exclusive content. Find yourself a package that works for you, and help grow this little channel, this little community. Actually, it's a big community.
No longer a little channel.
Not little anymore. And of course, if you're new here, subscribe to this YouTube channel. Poseidon over there producing the show, as always. The Poseidon69. I'm Poseidon.com. And before me, the man, the myth, the legend in broadcasting, in Quebec broadcasting, is Ted Bird. Also from the Standing By, the Terry and Ted podcast. How are you, Ted?
I'm very well, thank you. And speaking of standing by, we have our studio time booked for season 7.
Yes.
We'll be recording in early April.
Nice.
And what's that?
Yeah, yes, you do.
We do, yeah. And
It'll be good to know that your producer is aware.
Is that right? Because I'm going to be in Greece. Yeah, he knows that. He's just he's having a shot. Yeah.
Are we?
So hopefully we'll have episodes posted by late April at the latest.
Nice. Exciting. Head on, well, actually, it's on this channel. So subscribe if you don't have to. Put the notifications on. Make sure you get that podcast. Exciting guests this season?
We do, yeah. Yeah, I don't remember any of them off the top of my head because I'm old and I don't get a load of this. Speaking of old and not remembering things. So I turned 65 last month.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. This week I got my first old age pension check from the federal government.
How does that feel?
Well, it felt pretty good, but
Yeah.
I lost it.
Why? Where did I put that check?
I can't remember where I put it.
Ah, that's amazing. You know you can set up auto deposit, right?
Yeah, I've heard about that.
What
yeah.
is that? What?
Yeah,
What?
yeah. But I'm 65. What do I know about that?
I could do
right?
it for you.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'll do it for you. Ted.
I'll take care of that for you.
I'll be getting a percentage of it also.
Yeah.
That's a
So
joke.
it's like money in the bank, but I don't know where the bank is.
Oh, my goodness. That's so funny.
I'm sure it'll
Funny.
turn up at some point, but
Yeah.
yesterday I'm going, fuck, where'd I put that?
That's funny.
That's so good. Yeah. So good. Oh, my God. Well, what did I want to tell you guys? Oh, yeah, I was telling Ted on the way here because I pick up Ted now every morning because he
I'm
can't
too
drive.
old to drive.
It's an advantage. You get your 65, you get a chaperone, and it's nice. People come pick you up. How amazing this winter has been. Honestly, I can't remember the last time we had a winter season that was this good.
This mild.
Oh my God, fuck, I love it.
Yeah, it's not good if you're a skier, though, I guess.
I don't care
Although
about
I know
those skiers.
Yeah, I
Fuck
know.
those people.
I don't feel that strongly about it, but I think at the hills they make snow.
They make
right?
snow, but I think they also need it. I mean, I don't know if they could make that much of it. Maybe they do. I don't know. I have a lot of friends that ski. I have one friend that I actually vacationed with. We went to Cuba once with our wives, and he's sitting on the beach, and you have your eyes closed, and you can hear the waves.
Yeah.
And what does he say? It sounds like skiing. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you, man?
Seriously.
You're sitting on a beach. What's wrong with you, man? So yeah, very passionate about skiing. And he gets upset, when there's no snow and the season isn't looking too good. He doesn't like it.
I have a friend who skidoos. He's a snowmobiler. And last week he went north of Chicoutimi to Falardeau with some of his buddies, and they went skidooing. There's snow up there, but it's like a 6-hour plus drive.
To enjoy skidoo.
Yeah. He's got a Ford F350 diesel.
Goddamn.
That he uses to haul his 800cc Skidoo.
800cc?
800cc Skidoo brand
My God.
snowmobile. He's single-handedly destroying the planet.
F350 diesel.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, well, that's what I was telling you about him. That's my friend Zach, who I was telling you about, who worked on oil rigs down in the States and a hockey player and the whole thing. I want to get him on the show one day, actually, because he's a smart guy. And he's worked all around the States. And I think he'd have an interesting perspective ahead of the American election.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he would definitely have a right of center perspective because he's a get a haircut job conservative type of guy. But he's not an old guy. He's a young guy. I think he's 33.
Is he a Trump supporter?
I don't know that he's a Trump supporter. You would have to ask him. I know that he's not a Trudeau fan. And like he's not... to me, he's what to me represents common sense. But common sense today, to a lot to people on the left, is right-wing extremism.
It's extreme. No, the reason why I asked, and it's not to poke fun or to criticize him or anything like that, because there was the Michigan primary yesterday, which Trump won immediately after the polls closed. The voting stations closed. But the funny thing with this election is that over 40% of the Republicans don't want Trump. So I don't know who's turning up to these.
Over 40% of the Republicans nationwide or in Michigan?
No, nationwide. So it's weird. This guy, he's getting like in the high 50s support. But there's still a significant enough.
Who do they want? Is Nikki Haley?
No, he's destroying her.
Okay.
In all these.
Then if they don't want Trump, who do they want? DeSantis is out, isn't he?
There's only two. It's him and Nikki Haley so far. She doesn't want to step down. And she's not getting the message clearly that she's losing all these primaries. But whatever, it's up to her. She wants to spend her supporters' money. But I try to look at her point of view. And it's not that nonsensical when you have over 40% of the Republican base that doesn't want Donald Trump, that are out saying that if it's Donald Trump, we're voting Biden. Like it says something.
There's 40% of the Republican base is saying that?
Yeah. That's not a real thing.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, Trump still has the majority. I mean, when you're in the high 50s, low 60s, around there. I mean, you're still ahead, right?
Are you talking about voters, or are you talking about like?
I'm talking about Republican supporters, not the entire population of the U.S. I'm talking within the Republicans.
Do you know why that is, though?
Why?
He doesn't start wars.
So 40% of the people want wars.
Yeah, of course. They make some money.
I don't know. Look, I just think that it's a big number.
Yeah, that surprises me. I had no idea. Like, to me, that sounds like that could swing it.
I think that's what she's basing herself on. And I could be wrong, but I think I did read that somewhere where there was a poll that was conducted, and it's 40, maybe a little over 40, or around 40% of the Republican base that doesn't want Donald Trump, and that are actively saying that if it's him, we're voting Biden, or not voting at all, which is the worst case scenario.
I don't know how you could be a Republican and in good conscience vote for Biden. The fucking guy doesn't know where he is 3/4 of the time.
Yeah, but I don't know if you've been following, but Nikki Haley now has started playing that game as well. She's trying to paint that image of Trump as well.
Well, Trump's no spring chicken. He's 77, I think.
Yeah, but he doesn't look.
No, he doesn't look lost like Biden
lost.
does. No, no. He says dumb things sometimes.
He may be missing a few things here and there, but in that age demographic, I would assume it's normal.
Yeah, well, look at me. I don't know where my check is. And I'm 12 years younger than him, and I can't find my fucking pension check because I forget where I put it.
And when you have so many things happening, right? I mean, he's not just focusing on the election right now. Like his entire empire is being attacked on all sides, right?
Yeah.
I mean, New York just kicked him out. Right, I think he's appealing that one, but in the last case, which I think it was like 2 weeks ago or something.
Yeah, he's lost a couple of significant court cases, and he's been ordered to pay.
They kicked him out. They told him that we don't want you doing business in New York. So I don't know what he's going to do. Well, obviously he's appealing, but if that decision,
and on what basis did they kick him out? What was the conviction?
Corruption or falsifying his numbers, valuations.
Do you buy into that, or do you think that this is what do they call it? Lawfare.
I don't know. I don't know.
Being used as an election campaign strategy or weapon.
I'm in the group of people that likes to think that the U.S., especially the U.S. and in Canada, we have strong, incredible, judicial systems.
I believe that less and less. Like the things that are happening now.
Part of me doesn't want to believe that we're headed that way.
I never used to believe that. I used to think, no, the government would never fuck us around. They're
not the government. Not the government. The judicial system, which is independent, right? I mean, it's its
but at this point they're all fucking tied in, and the media is part of the team.
I mean, not
the
now.
The media is all in as well.
But not now, like in the last 5-6 years, but before. I mean, you would think that if something goes to court in the U.S. or in Canada, it's credible enough. You know what I mean? In any case,
I'd like to think so. Well, listen, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I'm pretty sure the government thinks I'm one. Good night, everybody.
Yeah,
Poseidon wasn't even listening to that. Yeah,
but I don't think
people can hear that. Yeah, there's construction going on. Either that, or you know what that is? That's JTF2. They're fucking going to break the door down. We're coming in to get us.
Yeah. So I don't know what's going to happen, but I can't even imagine the stress of being attacked so much everywhere. Like everything you have, everything you do is being questioned before the courts.
I think he enjoys it.
I don't know, man. I mean, look, he has a huge operation, right? I mean, it's not him dealing with these things. It's not me and my wife sitting in our kitchen on the kitchen table figuring out documents over here, right? It's not a little small business. But
he's not. You don't think he's like me either? Going, where did I put that check?
Where's that check? Yeah. No, he has a huge operation, but
it's probably in the freezer or somewhere. You know.
You open to grab cereal. You left it in the pantry. I mean, when you have such a huge empire like he does, first of all, I never understood why are you running for office? You have all this thing to take care of. You're all over the place.
Yeah.
How do you even have time to manage everything?
Well, I think it's
because he's still very much involved in his business.
I think he enjoys, he's obviously got a huge ego, and I think he really gets off on the attention, and I'm sure that he loved being president of the United States.
Sure.
But I also think there's also a part of him that has this romantic ideal of America as it used to be post World War II, you know, right up into, let's say till the 80s kind of thing. And even into the 80s with Reagan. Like, to me, Reagan was the last real, America, my country, right or wrong, what's the old, you're a grand old flag, you're a high flying flag, like real fucking old school America, I think Trump pines for those days.
Right.
And I'm kind of with him on that. He's not a progressive. Let's sexually mutilate children because they're not sure about their gender identity. He opposes stuff like that, and so do I. And so that's why I would rather him than the Democrats. Personally, I know he's a flawed individual.
I wouldn't. This is
Aren't we all at the end of the day, Ted?
I'm not.
No, but this is the situation. No, but it's an interesting situation because it's happening in the States and it's happening also in Canada. We just don't see it yet, but it's there, where people.
I gotta go handle this. I can't. It's gonna drive me fucking insane.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know if you
but-
guys can hear it, but there's drilling.
Yeah, I don't know if
going
it's
on
coming
in-
through there. Let us know if you're
Yeah.
hearing the noise. But
Yeah.
So it's already present in the U.S. and it is going to be coming in Canada, where people, I think, are going to have a hard time identifying politically.
You mean figuring out where they stand or who? What?
Yeah, their political family.
Yeah,
Where do I
Yeah, there are a
belong?
lot of politically homeless people right now. One of the really interesting things to me that I've heard, and I think we've probably mentioned this on the show in the past, I know quite a few disaffected former liberals, former lefties,
I know a lot of them.
who are now more right of center, and the common refrain that they have is, "I didn't leave the left left me."
Yeah. But
know
to
what
go
I mean?
further in the left,
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly, yeah, like-
I know a lot of liberals. And, traditionally, when we're talking about,
And I'm not talking about card-carrying Liberal Party liberals. I'm talking about
Supporters.
people whose
Yeah,
ideology
yeah.
is liberal.
Yeah, exactly.
Like classic liberals,
Yeah,
I would call
yeah,
them.
yeah.
A classic liberal today is probably a moderate conservative.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
But I think it was always the case. I think that liberals here in Canada, and we're not talking about provincially, we're talking about federally, liberals and conservatives shared the middle space a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were always there,
Yeah. They weren't so polarized
No,
as they
exactly.
are today.
They kind of veered off a little to the left, a little to the right, but I think they had a huge chunk of their supporters share the middle, I think.
Yeah.
And depending on the election and the leader, maybe they would pivot, they would switch parties. And that's where they belonged. And that's why I think it's very dangerous right now, because we're moving to the sides, and it's becoming very polarized. Justin Trudeau seems to have given Jagmeet Singh the okay for free pharmacare, which was the condition for them to stay on and have that little coalition, that little partnership that they had, or else the NDP threatened that they wouldn't vote for his budget now in March. And it seems as though they figured things out and that we will be getting free pharmacare. In essence, it's a good thing. I have parents that are of a certain age and they're paying fucking incredibly exorbitant amounts of money for medication.
Any drugs that I have to buy, and I'm getting older, so I'm on certain medications. Anything I have to buy is friggin' expensive.
Of course.
Stuff that's covered by insurance.
Exactly.
For work. Thank God that it is.
And not only that, you have the doctors pushing products because they don't care about the generic stuff, and there are generic, the generic medication, but nobody fucking pushes that. Your doctor's gonna say, "Fuck that, take the other one" or whatever, So I don't disagree with that necessarily. I don't at all.
But I heard it was only going to cover, or mainly going to cover, diabetic medication and contraception.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I didn't read the details there. I just read that they figure shit out, and I know that the NDP wanted to have free pharmacare. I don't know the details.
Do you know where the Conservatives stand on that?
No.
Because it would be interesting if they opposed it, but does that mean they would repeal it?
I don't know, but
they got in.
This is the type of policy that should unite all parties, I think, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, though, it costs a lot of fucking money.
Yeah, well, that's it.
It costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
So if you're in a situation where, it's the Harper government or it's the Chrétien government or even the Paul Martin government, you can tell yourself, no problem, we'll take a hit and we'll do it. But when you're looking at the context today where Canada's deficit is God knows where.
Well, I believe our deficit is in the tens or hundreds of billions, and I think our national debt is over $1 trillion now, yeah.
You're wondering, is this the priority? Businesses are leaving. People have a hard time finding a place to live. So I don't know. I don't know.
Well, here's the answer: have cereal for dinner.
Yeah.
The CEO of Kellogg's actually said that this week, or within the last couple of weeks. He said, if you're struggling with the rising food costs, why not consider cereal for dinner?
Mm-hmm.
He made, I think, $5 million last year between base salary and bonuses. Do you think that he's sitting down with the family and having a Special K?
Probably, yeah.
At supper time? Yeah?
Yeah.
What wine?
But it's luxury. He can cut in fruits.
Yeah. What wine do you think pairs well with, let's say, Fruit Loops?
Yeah, Fruit Loop, yeah.
Probably a sparkling rosé, maybe a baby duck. Like, how tone deaf is that?
He has a sommelier in his house.
Yeah.
Sir, may I recommend this for breakfast?
How tone deaf is that, though? Telling people struggling with rising food costs, have cereal for supper. Hey, fuck you.
Yeah.
Have that for supper.
Yeah.
How about that?
I wonder if they thought it was like some sort of intelligent marketing campaign. Hey,
Well,
by the way,
actually, apparently Kellogg's actually has a marketing campaign along those lines. Cereal for supper. And, you know, some MBAs sat around and thought that was a good idea. How out of touch can you be?
Yeah, it is out of touch, but let's be honest
This
here.
reminds me of one. Remember the French, the Quebecois politician here that it's like, no, look, grocery shopping isn't expensive. And
It was Philippe Couillard in the election of 2018. They got him with a trick question in a radio interview, and they asked him, is it possible to make your groceries with $75 a week, I think, or something like that?
Yeah.
And
For how many people?
it goes for a family, whatever.
Of course it's not. It's impossible. It was impossible
That
then.
normally, in terms of communication, should have been the immediate answer, right? He wanted to portray an image where we have people in Quebec that are actually not that well off, and they have to make the difficult decisions of, unfortunately, buying groceries at a very low cost at food. What do you call them? Food banks, whatever. And his answer was, yes, it's possible, because factually, there are people that are doing this. So yes, it's possible. Is it the best solution? Are you getting the best products? Are you healthy? Obviously not.
No.
Are you getting enough? Obviously not. But you would have imagined an experienced politician to be much more careful, because you know how it is. They clip the shit, and that clip was like,
Didn't he say you can get like a bunch of KD boxes and shit and you're good?
no. He just said that, yes, it's possible. I think it's possible. But he went on to explain what he meant. And his explanation was, yeah, there are families living in dire situations, and unfortunately, they're in that demographic where, you know, they're making these difficult decisions that, they exist among us, these people that don't have the money to make proper groceries. But nobody fucking listened to that. They clipped that thing. Yes, it's possible.
Yeah.
And not destroyed him. It tanked his entire campaign. All that to say, though, going back to the cereal, and yes, it is.
Cereal for supper.
Let's be honest here. I can have cereal all day.
Oh, so can I.
Fuck yeah. It's
So
good.
can I, but you know, as a
Yeah, but you
father,
won't
I'm-
last long.
But
and also cereal, like, what's a box of Fruit Loops cost now? It's like fucking $8.
it is.
Really?
Yeah, it's
more
not
expensive.
cheap anymore. I don't
No.
buy it, but I look at it when I'm
Yeah.
at the grocery store.
Man, I haven't had Fruit Loops in forever.
Yeah, I like Fruit Loops. My
Loops are
all-time
good.
favorite, though, Cocoa Puffs.
Cocoa Puffs was
I was
amazing.
cuckoo for
Yo,
Cocoa
me, it
Puffs,
was
man.
Nesquik.
Yeah, well, that's Cocoa Puffs by another name.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same
Yeah.
I
cereal.
love Nesquik
Yeah, that's-
so
yeah,
much.
that's
Did you
As a
add
stuff.
chocolate milk
As a kid,
in it?
yes. As a kid, I loved it so much. They tried to get me off of it by telling me that, because you know it's a rabbit on the box.
Yeah.
And they go, you know, rabbit poop, and I think they went out of the way
And
to
that's
show
what it
me.
looks like, too. Eh?
Yeah. They went out of the way to show me rabbit poop, and they're like, "You're eating rabbit poop." I'm like, "Yeah, so
It tastes good.
Yeah, it's great.
it's fucking delicious."
That's
I
such
want
a-
more rabbit poop.
Yeah.
That's such a bad idea.
Let's get some rabbits. We can make our own.
No, but that's such a bad idea. You're out in the field. You're like, is that rabbit shit?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I'm used to eating this.
Yeah, as a kid, thank God, as a kid, I knew I could tell the difference, but I didn't give a fuck. I was like, okay, fuck you.
Yeah, some of that junky cereal was good stuff, man.
Oh,
Fruit
man.
Loops, Cocoa Puffs. What else? I never liked Lucky Charms, though, because I didn't like, and same with Count
I liked the
Chocula.
marshmallows,
I
but the
didn't
other ones
like
were
the marshmallows. I
disgusting.
was
Oh,
the
no.
other way around.
Oh,
I
wow.
liked the crunchy ones, and I didn't like the marshmallows. They ruined it for me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was the opposite, but we didn't do Lucky Charms. That my father used to buy cornflakes, and we're telling him get Frosted Flakes because they were sweeter, Frosted Flakes. But he
only
didn't want-
thing-
so we stuck at cornflakes. We would have Fruit Loops, obviously. Captain Crunch at some point. We went
Yeah, with
stupid on
crunch berries.
Captains.
Yeah, crunch berries.
The only thing I
Right
didn't
over the
like
top.
about Fruit Loops is that they made the milk gay.
So stupid.
Because of the color they turned it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You can't get tricks here, eh? You got to go to Plattsburgh to get tricks, right?
I think so. But I think at some point you were able to.
Do you remember the...
Hold on, let me Google all the best.
Silly rabbit tricks are for kids.
Yeah. I'm going to try to find it here. I saw such a funny tweet about that really made me laugh hard.
Yeah,
One
I
of the
remember
better
having
tweets I
these
ever
as a
saw.
kid, and then they no longer had them.
Silly rabbit.
Where is that tweet? It was so good.
Shooby-doo.
When they came out with the chocolate Cheerios, there was something.
Chocolate Cheerios?
Yeah, or the Oreos. They had the Oreos. Oh, those were good.
So this was the tweet. Marketing executive. Let's make a cereal for children. It'll be extremely colorful, and rabbits can go fuck themselves if they think they can have some. Isn't that great?
That's so fucking Oh, man.
Funny.
The amount of money these people spent on marketing campaigns targeting children for these cereal. What a huge industry, eh? The cereal industry.
It's $7 now for a box of cereal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
But that's a regular one. If you get the
family
family,
size,
if
you're
you get
looking
the
at $10,
family size, which is, we're not big on cereal either. We get the healthy shit, which is much smaller.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's called, and much pricier.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like you have to go to the what do you call it section?
The Whole Foods or the fucking
Organic. Yeah.
No, but they have it also now in the cereal section. They have like all these.
They do, eh? The good ones. Yeah. I just buy Quaker Oats oatmeal and I eat that.
Yeah.
Put some fresh fruit on it. Yeah.
I stopped giving my kids cereal. Not that we did. We usually had yogurt, maybe fruits, stuff like that. I make them eggs now. I read there was someone that sent me a study.
They're a superfood. Eggs are a superfood.
Yeah, no, but someone sent me this study that was conducted, and I should have known this already anyway. That the cereal, because of the content, the high sugar that they have, the kids eat it in the morning, they fucking peak. They get a sugar rush, and then by 10, 11 o'clock they fucking crash. They crash. Yeah. So they can't stay awake like within the.
Oh, you're talking about cereal?
Yeah.
Okay,
like,
I thought you were talking about eggs. I was
no. Like way before noon, the noon break at school, they're already fucking dozing. These kids, like around 9:30, 10, and they're already on their drop.
So what's the recommendation on eggs in terms of how many you can consume in a specific time period? Because they're not good for you if you get high cholesterol.
Well,
like too many eggs.
I don't know, man. But I've heard also that was like a little bit of a myth.
That's a myth.
Is that right?
It's,
Okay.
It's 100%.
I don't know.
So it's 100% a myth. They do contain cholesterol, but it's so minute that you can have like 12 of them and it won't give you high cholesterol.
Yeah. So it's okay to have eggs every day.
Yes.
Couple eggs
absolutely.
every day, yeah.
They're actually considered a superfood.
Yeah. Well, they're getting expensive too, eh?
Yeah. Well, because you're eating an embryo, you have all these vitamins and all these like you are sure. You have all this. Hold on. You know what? Let's go.
I thought you were going somewhere else.
I am super passionate. Oh, okay, I get it. I'm super passionate about eggs being a superfood, especially because I used to. I think what kept me alive is my love. My love for eggs when I was a kid. I loved eggs as a kid, and I'm convinced that this is what kept me from getting diabetes.
Eggs?
Yes, because I loved eating eggs so much, and
How's your cholesterol?
fantastic.
Yeah.
The only thing I have to chill on like red meat and seafood a bit. I have to relax and cold cuts.
So
Cold cuts, yeah. Cold cuts. Don't eat cold cuts.
You can't come to Marvin's then.
You can have a salad.
Yeah.
No.
Sorry.
Just fucking bullying him. Get a salad, fatty.
Yeah. These calamari are really good.
Faggy,
Poseidon.
not fatty.
In your face. So we do eggs now in the morning.
So they're amongst
smart.
the most nutritious food on the planet, with only 74 calories. 5 grams of fat and 6 grams of protein. Imagine 6 grams of protein in 74 calories. That's nothing. With all 9 essential amino acids, rich in iron, phosphorus, selenium, and vitamins A, B12, B2, and B5, among others.
Those are my favorite vitamins. I love those ones.
About 169 milligrams of choline, a very important nutrient.
Choline.
For the brain.
I'm begging of you, please don't take my man.
Oh my God.
So they're actually considered a superfood because also they're incredibly filling.
So where did that thing start about the cholesterol and don't eat too many eggs?
I don't know. I might have just made it up.
No, because I've heard it.
It's no, I've heard it too. It's big sugar.
Big Sugar started that,
Yep.
so you'd eat cereal instead of eggs?
Exactly.
There you go.
You know what? I mean, from the parents'
Isn't Big Sugar a band?
Is it?
I don't know. Could be.
It's a good name for a band.
They have antioxidants, which is good, like for your eyes.
Like I see it from the parents' perspective. It's so fucking easy. Sit down. Here's a bowl of cereal.
Yep.
Eat. Get the hell out of the house, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But
But
at the
eggs
same
are easy
time,
too.
yeah, exactly. It doesn't take a long time to make an egg. You whip
No,
up
it
some
takes no time
scrambled
at all.
egg. A couple
Yeah.
minutes, you're done. You know.
My son was over at my place, Charlie, last weekend, and he made some scrambled eggs. Fuck, they were good. He put cheese in them.
Nice.
Oh God, it was good.
Yeah.
Like a good cheese too, like Oka and some Swiss and not Kraft bullshit from the grocery store, but good stuff from the cheese aisle at Costco.
Yes.
That's like Disneyland, the cheese aisle at Costco. I fucking
good, eh?
that. Oh boy,
So going back to the cholesterol.
Dr. Poseidon over here, right?
So I'm reading. It's the experts on. Eggs have been considered unhealthy because they contain cholesterol. A large egg contains 207 milligrams of cholesterol, which is a lot compared to most other foods. However, many studies have shown that the dietary cholesterol in eggs does not adversely affect cholesterol levels in the blood. In fact, eggs raise your good HDL cholesterol and change your bad LDL cholesterol from small to dense to large, which is benign. One
You're
analysis,
dense and large.
one analysis of 23 studies on egg consumption.
Sorry.
It's okay. Discovered that consumption of 2 or more eggs a day was not associated with increased cardiovascular risk compared to 1 or no eggs.
Okay.
In fact, higher egg consumption was associated with a decreased risk of coronary artery disease.
Bottom line, it's not such a bad idea to have eggs. Don't over fucking do it. Like 5-6 eggs every morning. Like 1 or 2 eggs, you'll be fine.
When I lost 45, 50 pounds, I was eating 4 eggs a day.
Yeah, but you were cutting down on other stuff.
Yeah, what weren't you eating?
Yeah,
Everything else, basically.
yeah. Like you weren't slamming those Big Macs.
Yeah.
I never liked Big Macs.
Yeah.
And then I would have like 1 or 2 pizzas a week.
Whole pizzas?
Yeah.
Like an entire pizza?
1 or 2 a week?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's healthy.
It isn't. But I still lost weight.
Still lost all that weight, eh?
Yeah.
Were you exercising too, or was just
Walking.
Yeah,
I was walking.
It's more about what you. It's like if you want to lose weight, it's
diet.
way more about diet
Of
than
course
it
it
is
is.
about exercise.
Of course it is. I mean, think of it. If you go out for a jog for an hour, you're losing about 700 calories,
Maybe
800 calories.
Yeah, depending on how hard you're
Yeah,
running.
exactly.
Like 800, you'd have to be fucking running hard to lose 800 calories in an hour.
And then you go to McDonald's and you get a fry, just a fry,
Yeah.
and you're at 700 calories.
Yeah.
So imagine that, you know?
Yeah.
So no, it is about dieting.
I cut out bread for about, not completely, but for about 6 months.
Oh, you were telling me the story.
I used to buy bread. Like I'd go to there's a nice bakery in Point Claire Plaza, Swiss Vienna Bakery. They bake it on the spot, really good bread. And I used to buy a loaf there like
bread is good, man.
every week.
Oh.
Yeah. But for whatever reason, I missed a few weeks, and then I noticed I wasn't really missing not having it in the house, right? So I stopped eating bread. If I went to a restaurant, I would have bread, but I would never have it at home. And I must have lost weight. I never weigh myself, but I had a few people remark, you look like you've lost weight. And that I figured it's got to be because I'm not eating bread.
So do you know what the problem is with that? It's the kind of bread we eat here.
Well, I was eating sourdough. But let me finish the story. Yesterday,
Sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. Yesterday, I go by the bakery, and I was like an alcoholic who was 6 months sober, but he's walking by his favorite bar or pub, and I stopped, and I looked, and I went, "Fuck, man."
That baguette.
Yeah. Maybe I could have just one. Maybe I could have just one loaf. The same way an alcoholic would say, if I go in there and have one
Just
drink, I'll
one,
be
you're
fine.
fine.
It's been 6 months.
Yeah, you'll be
It's
fine.
been 6 months. I can have one.
Yeah.
So I go in, I buy a loaf of San Francisco sourdough. I ate half of it last night and the other half this morning. And later on this afternoon, I'm going to be in there banging on the fucking counter going, give me a fucking double thick slice of pumpernickel and leave the fucking loaf, barkeep.
That's funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the same mindset, you know?
It is.
The only thing is, the difference is, if I eat too much bread, I'm not going to pick a fight with, a biker in a bar or drive my car off the bridge.
Is that what happened? You get in fights with bikers?
No, that didn't happen. One day I got mouthy with some guy at Cheers downtown, and he reached over and he put his hand around my throat and cut off my windpipe. And the
shit.
bartender said, no, leave him alone. He's drunk, leave him alone. And I found out afterwards it was like the number 2 guy in the West End gang, the Irish, the NDG Irish mob. And I was going, fuck you, buddy. I'm lucky
funny.
he didn't take me out back and rip off my fucking
No
arms
shit.
and stick them in my back pocket.
Oh, for sure. God damn.
So yeah, if I eat too much bread, that's probably not going to happen.
Yeah. No, bread is good. It's for me, it's the hardest thing to, and we don't buy bread either. We don't. But when I come across it, I destroy it.
Yeah.
I can just.
Yeah.
Me, I don't have a problem so much with bread, just bread standalone. But when it comes to like pizza, burgers, sandwiches, all that good stuff,
Sandwich.
a sucker, big sucker, bro. Big sucker. The bread's got to be good and fluffy.
Yeah. Well, the bread is Swiss Vienna pastry. Like the sourdough that I got yesterday, it was right out of the oven.
Oh.
And I took it home and I toasted some and I put some butter on it, and it was just fucking.
Oh, you made some garlic bread?
No. I just put it in the toaster and then just put some butter on it after I took it out of the toaster. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need peanut butter. It didn't need jam. It just needed some. And actually, it wasn't even butter. It was margarine out of a tub, and it was delicious. And I couldn't stop. I was on a roll.
I get it. I definitely get it.
Tell us about the new bill that our favorite prime minister is trying to pass up in Ottawa.
I can't tell you.
Well, it's not a new bill, but
Yeah, I can't tell you a whole lot about it. I just know that it's called the Online Harms Act, and it's to regulate content on the internet, and that you and I and Poseidon are going to end up in prison for the rest of our lives.
They're gonna put after they hear everything I've said.
Yeah, because it's one of the purposes of it is to fight quote unquote hate speech. So there's a lot of it that I agree with, like anything that's designed to keep kids away from online pornography or online sexual predators. I'm all for that. But the hate speech thing concerns me, because who gets to define hate speech, right? And under the terms of this legislation, Poseidon saying, I ate chicken and cauliflower like a homosexual, could be construed as hate speech, him being hateful against homosexuals, when in fact all he's doing is he's making a joke.
Exactly.
it says here the act would amend the criminal code to increase sentences for spreading hate online. So they're increasing the severity of the penalty.
Yeah,
for stuff that
like
is said
they could
online.
they could literally throw him in prison for saying something like that.
It's such a gray zone though, because nobody understands what hate speech means. It's what you were saying. What does it mean? Define hate speech, right? Because if you're saying,
well, the left, which includes Trudeau and the Liberal government, defines it as anything they don't like. That's what hate speech is. Anything they don't like.
because
They leave it vague on purpose.
yeah, because if you go out there and say, these Jews need to die, right? That's not hate speech. That's criminal. You're calling for someone, and that is already defined in the criminal code.
Yeah.
You get arrested because of what you said.
Yeah, so
it's threatening.
Yeah, if you incite violence towards a group
That's
of
what it
people
is.
or towards somebody, that I completely understand.
So,
That's completely
yeah.
insane. But I don't know, saying some dumb joke, you know?
Here's hate crime. Okay, this. I saw this on Twitter yesterday. This is from the proposed legislation. Offense motivated by hatred. everyone who commits an offense under this act or any other act of Parliament, if the commission of the offense is motivated by hatred based on race, national or ethnic origin, language, color, religion, sex, age, mental or physical disability, sexual orientation, or gender identity or expression, is guilty of, I just lost it. Well, is guilty of hate speech and liable to
But that's
a
everything.
prison sentence.
That's like every category out there.
Yeah, they're basically going to throw me down a well, basically, at this point.
Yeah.
They're just going to be like, look, bro.
Yeah, and they're going to throw me and George on top of you. Yeah. But what's interesting to me is, okay, let's say the Liberals get this pushed through, and then Poilievre and the Conservatives get elected. Do they repeal it, or do they just use it to suit their political purposes, which I think is probably more likely?
Yeah.
Then they get to decide what hate speech is. Then hate speech becomes whatever the conservative government of the day
Then we're
doesn't
going
like.
down this dangerous spiral.
Yeah.
Very, very dangerous. And usually we've seen what happens when something is added to the laws. Usually to get it removed or changed is incredibly complicated to begin
Not really.
with.
No.
And it almost never happens.
No, it's a vote in Parliament. You're amending a bill. It's not. It's really not complicated. It's just, do you want to open that door, right? Because once a decision is made, it's rare to see it happen, but it happens. Justin did it. Justin went back on not everything, but a lot of the things that Harper did, and he canceled them. I can't remember off the top of my head, but his first year in office, he spent his time just undoing what Harper did.
Yeah, I think
Had a majority,
Harper
so-
passed a law whereby rabbits could go fuck themselves if they wanted tricks. And Trudeau repealed that. I may have made that up.
Maybe, who knows? You guys do the research.
That's
I don't understand. I don't understand where we're going, and
off a cliff.
and he just keeps putting his foot in his mouth. Did you see that? We were talking about that in the car on the way here. He was in Europe this week. He went to Ukraine to announce additional funds in supporting their effort there against Russia. I think he announced $3 billion this year. I think in total it's over $10 billion that we've sent over to the Ukraine. And then he went to Poland to meet with the new prime minister over there, and they're giving a press conference. And in that press conference, he mixed up his words, but at the same time, it's like, you're an idiot, you know? Mm-hmm. Like, how do you mix up these fucking words? It's been 2 years we've been talking about the war in Ukraine versus Russia, and I think the question was about Canada's support for Ukraine, and the question was very specific because the arsenal, the military arsenal that Canada has promised the Ukraine hasn't arrived yet. Okay, it's late. And I think the question was on that specifically. And he went off saying that, Canada has always supported the Ukraine and we will continue to do so. Blah, blah, blah. We've announced this, over $10 billion, la, la, la. And it's very important because Russia must win this war. I mean, it's important for the Ukraine to win this war against Russia. You correct yourself immediately, but you still look like a buffoon.
Yeah.
Because it's not something that just happened that you're mixing yourself up with. You've been fucking spitting these lines out for 2 years now. How do you mess that up?
Focus, buddy. Focus.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, maybe it was the time zone change that threw him off.
Yeah.
And I also saw a clip on social media. I believe it was when he was in Poland, and he was talking about how we must not support these leaders who use the authority of the state to suppress legitimate dissent and free speech. You mean like you did with the truckers and the convoy in Ottawa? Yeah. And, and to backtrack to the hate speech thing, this is a guy who said of the convoy and its supporters that he accused them of being misogynist, like without any foundation.
No.
He called them misogynists, he called them racists, and he said, and I quote, "Do we tolerate these people?" Like, what are you? Are you Goebbels talking about the Jews in World War II? Do we tolerate these people?
Yeah. These are people that...
that's hate speech.
It definitely is. You're calling someone out and calling them names, actually. Yeah. You're describing someone. But, I don't want to go back to that time, man, because obviously, I've seen so many demonstrations, and I believe in demonstrations. I think they have every right to demonstrate, but you got to do it peacefully. And when the trucker convoy was happening, I didn't have an issue with them demonstrating. I had an issue with them disrupting people's livelihoods and
In Ottawa
and the peace, right? I mean, it was loud and it was obnoxious, and I mean that's how they were demonstrating their anger, right, towards their dissatisfaction towards the government. But there needs to be a balance somewhere, you know.
Yeah, but they were a lot less obnoxious than BLM.
Oh yeah,
they were not. And Trudeau was taking a knee for Black Lives Matter while he was calling the truckers who had, what did they have? Bouncy castles and barbecues in the streets of Ottawa, but they were horrible people. Yeah. But BLM, which was burning shit down and people were being killed during those protests, that was okay.
It was crazy how quickly they were associated to MAGA supporters and extreme right-wing
narrative. It's all, and the media is all in. The mainstream media is all in on that, and more and more and more.
But there was very little coverage of that demonstration. Nobody took the time to actually walk into that crowd, and they didn't bother.
No,
they were sitting on the sidelines reporting. And nobody really bothered.
They were slaves to the government's narrative. Yeah. Yeah. And that's why I say independent media is becoming increasingly important. And people, I think, are turning more and more to independent media. Because I find at least independent media, like it's also, it's definitely biased one way or the other for the most part, but at least you're getting... I just don't trust mainstream media anymore. I just think mainstream media at this point is it's the propaganda arm.
It's very interesting. And just on a side note, we're going to have a major figure of the Quebec media landscape on our podcast, on Politiquement Parlant. I can't say the name yet. It was supposed to happen this week, but I think it's going to happen next week.
Does it rhyme with Saul Blarpa?
No.
Because he'd be cool to have on.
But
it's a big name.
Yeah, it's a big name.
Good for you guys.
It rhymes more with Saul Baroque.
Okay.
So anyway, and I'm looking forward to it because the fact that someone of that stature accepts to come to it, because we're a puny little podcast.
Yeah, but you guys do well. You've had all the major leaders on except Legault, right?
Yeah, exactly. And he refused finally. He gave us an answer. He's not going to be. It's no surprise, but it's okay. We got everyone else. Yeah, the last couple of months have been super fantastic. I mean, they picked up clips and they put on LCN from our podcast.
Nice.
I don't know what the fuck is going on,
great.
but I really
Run
understand
with
it. Yeah, for sure. But I just find it interesting that someone of that stature is actually considering going to this new format, which never happened before. And these guys they're tied to all these exclusivity things, and you can't do this and you can't do that, and this is the only platform. So I don't know what this is, and that's pretty much what I'm looking forward to asking him. How is this even allowed to happen?
Yeah.
How are you allowed to be here, right?
Well, maybe he's recognizing that independent media is becoming increasingly important.
I think that mainstream goes back to what you're saying. I think that mainstream media is realizing that they're losing a lot of footing.
Yep, they are. They absolutely
and
are.
They need to take these smaller players and not us, like much bigger podcasts that are politically oriented or news oriented or whatever. They have to take them more seriously. I mean, they're looking for content on our platform to show on theirs, on national news, right? Yeah. So there's something strange happening. I think there's this openness in acknowledging that maybe whatever's happening is, there's value there,
Yeah. A podcast I strongly recommend, and I think I've mentioned it before on this podcast, is called Trish Wood is Critical. And it's a former colleague of mine from many years ago, Trish Wood, who was a correspondent and host with the Fifth Estate on CBC and also worked on As It Happens. A polished veteran investigative journalist, and one of the people who said, I didn't leave the left left me. And she has a podcast now, Trish Wood is Critical, and it's a podcast about current events and critical thinking, and it's so good. It's so good. And every episode, I liken it to being at a party and eavesdropping on the smartest people in the room.
Is she out of Toronto?
Yeah.
Okay.
And she has such smart guests. And she herself is so smart. It's such a great, great listen. Trish Wood is critical. Strongly recommended.
Nice.
Not as funny as we are.
No.
But pretty good in its own way.
Yeah, so I don't know. I feel like we're at the cusp of something, some big change, in the landscape, media, politics. Something is happening. We don't know what it is yet because it's happening. And I feel
hope it's something good.
I don't know if it's good or if it's bad, but I feel like we're at the beginning.
Of both,
Maybe. I feel like we're at the beginning of something that is changing, right? And again, I don't know if, and I've said this so many times on the podcast, I'm very worried that because of where the politics is at the moment, where we've taken it so much to the left, that the pendulum swing is just going to go to the complete opposite side. And although I find what Pierre Poilievre is saying to make a lot of sense, I'm still a little worried by how far he's willing to take the agenda.
Right.
Just because of that natural. Right. So just because of that natural.
Well, we're going to find out, aren't we?
Yeah.
How soon? When is the latest that?
25.
2025. Early 2025?
Usually it's towards the end of the year, but yeah, anytime in 2025. I know that Quebec, there's a law that they need to do it in October. I don't think that law exists over at the federal. So anytime in 25, it could happen before. I don't know. I don't know. I've lost so many bets on this.
And based on your experience in politics, which is extensive, he's got what, about a 20-point lead in the polls now?
Yeah, depending, maybe even more.
Yeah.
What he's in the lead in all provinces. He has the lead in all provinces except for Quebec, and I don't think he gives a shit too much about Quebec.
And in Quebec, who's in front? The Bloc. Yeah. So, what are the odds of anything happening that could dramatically change the polls between now and the next election?
Anything could happen. Yeah. Anything could happen. He can flop badly, but it feels that he's found his lane.
Yeah.
There's people that hate him.
And you also have to take into account voter fatigue with Trudeau, right? He's had 3 terms, and
so everything
even if he'd been a great prime minister, there would be voter fatigue.
Yeah, everything is aligning for Pierre Poilievre. He has to be very careful not to make any mistakes, but it's also very difficult to make a mistake when you have so much crap that you can call out the government for.
Yeah.
And the most recent one is the Arrive scam. That over $60 million, and there was an article that Poilievre actually retweeted, I think it was in a French newspaper, I can't remember, that it's very likely that it's above 150 million.
Yeah.
To the point now where the RCMP is actually investigating.
Oh, they are, eh?
Yeah.
Well, that's good. That's good. The company that got the Arrive
There's 2 people.
There's 2 people in a basement, and they've gotten more than $250 million in government contracts. 2 guys in a basement who don't even do the work themselves. They subcontract.
They're not programmers.
Yeah,
they have no fucking clue.
Yeah.
How does that happen?
I don't know. Well, I think it's a classic example of who you know, right?
Probably. It's like, we have a good opportunity over here. Let's go knock on some doors. Make a nice little presentation.
Yeah.
We can handle this. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
This is what it's going to cost. Blah blah blah.
We got to figure out how to sell this podcast for $250 million.
God damn it! Can you imagine that? And maybe we should have a talk with Pantelis because he used to design apps, and it's not that complicated from what he explained to me.
Yeah.
And that app was fucking. It was nothing. It was
it was supposed to be $80,000, right? That was the projected cost.
Yeah.
And it ended up costing $60 million.
From what they know, the auditor that looked at the auditor general that looked into it, she didn't know what to say. She goes, I'm assuming it's 60 million. It could be more. There's no trail. There's no paperwork. It's disorganized. So she didn't even know enough to set a price, an amount that was spent. She didn't know. She goes, I'm guessing around 60 million. Isn't that crazy?
Jesus. Yeah, that's mental. You know what? Poseidon's not in the room right now, so now might be a good time to talk about
him.
No, well, about him, but the active service U.S. airman who committed suicide in front of the Israeli embassy in Washington by dousing himself with accelerant. and setting himself on fire. And the only reason I say now might be a good time is because he would make jokes about it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's too soon.
He's like, hey, homosexual.
Yeah, it's too soon. He'd say, he was on fire. No, it was a horrible thing. It's one of those horrible things I've ever seen on the internet. I don't know if you've seen the uncensored video.
Yeah.
It was sickening. It was absolutely sickening. And I think his name was Aaron Bushnell. And his motivation, and he gave a speech as he was walking. He was filming himself. And as he was walking to the gates of the Israeli embassy in Washington, he said, I can no longer be complicit in the genocide being perpetrated against the people of Palestine, and I have to commit this act as an act of protest. And he set himself on fire, and he died. He didn't die on the spot. I think they got him to the hospital, but he died in the hospital. And it was absolutely sickening, as I say, to watch. And he's being hailed in some circles as a hero.
No surprise.
And a symbol of resistance. To me, whether or not he believed in what he was doing, to me, that's flat out mental illness. Like, you don't set yourself on fire if you're not mentally ill.
Yeah.
And I can't see beyond that. I understand that people believe that genocide is being perpetrated in Gaza. I personally don't believe that. I don't see it as genocide. That's my personal opinion. And from my perspective and from where I come from and what I've observed historically and growing up, I'm more on the side of Israel. And maybe does that make me complicit in genocide? If it does, well, then what can I tell you? But bottom line is, I think that guy was a classic case of mental illness who was looking for his little piece of infamy in the same way that John Hinckley, when he shot Ronald Reagan and wounded him back in 1980, he was looking for fame and notoriety because he wanted to impress Jodie Foster, the actress. And Mark David Chapman, when he murdered John Lennon, and he's on record as saying he was jealous of John Lennon's notoriety. And he wanted to be famous too. And I think that they're both crazy, right? Hinckley and Chapman were both crazy. And I think that there's I think that's the overriding element with this guy as well.
Yeah.
I think that he was driven by mental illness more than he was anything else.
It was horrible to even watch that, honestly. And I don't even know why. Like, these things, you don't want to watch them, but you kind of stick to it, and you're like, what the hell's going to happen? Like, you know what's happening. The guy's burning alive.
When I first saw it, I thought it was a doctored video, and and until I read about the story, I saw that it was legit. I thought, this is somebody's photoshopped this picture, but no, it was the real deal, and it was just awful to watch.
Yeah.
And imagine if you're his family, right?
Yeah.
Like, I would not see, I have sons that age. I wouldn't, even if I was supportive of the cause, I would not be saying, my son, good for him. Look what he's done for the, look at his symbolic sacrifice.
Yeah.
No, that's my fucking son, man.
Yeah. No, it's horrible. It's horrible. And not only that, for an event that you really can't do much to control. Like, what is it going to change? And, I'm not saying sit at home and do nothing. Yeah, if you believe in a cause, and, all these pro-Palestinian demonstrators, good for you. Get on the streets, make your voice heard. And I did say pro-Palestinian, right? I didn't say, the pro-Hamas idiots that are out there chanting intifada, and all these bullshit things, because there are peaceful Palestinian demonstrators, and they have every right to go and demonstrate on the streets. I support them. But it's always conflicting to me because it's something happening across the world that you have very little control over, Very little control over. Like, what is it going to change?
You have no control over it as an individual sitting over here.
It's not as if it's your government's decision and you're out in the streets because you know you can make a difference. I think of the student demonstrations back in 2011, 12.
The pots and pans?
Yeah, they were enormous. I mean, they were huge demonstrations and they had an impact. The trucker convoy, we can go through so many unions demonstrating, the teachers just last month. That could make change. It could bring change because it's happening here at home. Your government is here. They can see you. You can influence them. I get it. But to go in front of the Israeli embassy in Washington, what is it going to change? What is it going to change, man? So yeah, I agree with you. There has to be some sort of mental illness there, and it's sad, man. It's to me, it's always been crazy to see the lengths at which people go. Just, I don't know, to get a message through or to prove a point. I just don't get it. I never will.
Nor will I.
Yeah. Let's talk about something happier. Chris Chelios, former Canadian.
Yeah.
He saw his shirt retired in Chicago. And I asked you in the car, did they retire his shirt in Montreal?
No, they didn't retire his jersey number in Montreal. I don't even know what his jersey number was in Chicago. Was it the same? Seven, yes.
Yeah. Number 7.
Yeah. He wore number 24 in Montreal.
Yeah.
And I'm going to look up right now, and off the top of my head, I can't think of who wears number 24 for the Habs right now, if anybody does.
I think Lyle Odeline wore 24, no?
I have a question.
Do you remember Lyle Odeline?
Of course I remember.
Was it 24?
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
I have a question for you guys because I want to understand how
Or
this
29.
works. So let's say they retire his number 7 in Chicago, right? Does that mean nobody else can wear the number 7?
In Chicago.
In Chicago.
Yeah. But the question I asked Ted in
And
the
is
car
that forever?
Forever, yeah.
And do they retire everyone's numbers or no?
You got to be a big deal to get your number.
Okay,
So that's why I asked Ted, if they retire your number in one arena and you've played in several teams, does that mean that it stops? Like no one else can retire your number? But no, it's not the case. You can, Montreal could retire his number if they want to.
Why can't I find this? List of all Montreal Canadiens sweater numbers. There we go. I'll find number 20. Okay, here are all the retired ones. Shit, they've retired a lot of numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 4 is 12 and 3. They've retired 15 numbers. The Canadians. Yeah. Pretty soon somebody's going to be wearing number 134 because that's all that's going to be left. Yeah.
What does it take though? What are the criteria? Like, what do you need to have achieved in order to have your number retired?
Okay, let's say Howie Moran's. Known more lovingly as a Stratford Streak and the
Stratford
Mitchell Meteor.
Streak. What a great nickname that is, eh? From Stratford, Ontario.
He wore the first number ever retired by the Canadiens. Morenz was one of hockey's first superstars and was amongst the original 9 inductees to the Hockey Hall of Fame in 1945. Cool. I think you have to be inducted in the Hall of Fame in order to...
Not really.
Not necessarily.
Chelios isn't in the Hall of Fame. Is he?
Oh, yeah.
He is?
I'm pretty sure.
Oh, he's a Hall of Famer?
Oh, yeah, he's a Hall of Famer for sure. Tyler Pitlick was the last member of the Canadiens to wear 24. He's no longer...
I don't even remember that name.
Yeah, and you're right about Odeline. He wore 24.
24, yeah, I remember.
Yeah. Guy who I've always thought, and whenever I say this, people get so angry. The self-appointed protectors of the CH legacy get so angry. I always thought the Canadians, and I still think the Canadians should retire number 11 in honor of Saku Koivu.
Yes.
For 2 reasons. One, he's the second longest serving captain in franchise history after Jean Beliveau. Only Jean Beliveau was captain of the Canadiens for a longer period of time than Saku Koivu. Koivu was also an excellent hockey player. He wasn't, the Canadiens had no championship runs when he played for them, and he wasn't a league scoring leader, but he was an excellent hockey player. And
loved by Montrealers.
And he went through that cancer thing where it could have gone either way. He could have died. Like, he was seriously ill with cancer. And to me, 2 of the most, and maybe the 2 most memorable moments at the Bell Center.
Chilling, yeah.
One, when he came back, when he made his first public appearance after undergoing cancer treatment, and he might have still been in the midst of treatment, and he wasn't in uniform, he was in his civilian clothes because he wasn't ready to come back. But the ovation that he got when he made
When he
that,
came back, yeah.
and then when he came back and played
that
his
was
first game back, it bring tears to your eyes.
Yeah.
I mean, those were hugely impactful moments in the history of the franchise. Plus, what he did as a representative of the community. I think there's something in his name at the Montreal General Hospital. There's one of the cancer treatment facilities. Is named the Saku Koivu.
Oh, yeah? I didn't know that.
Something
Okay.
or other. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Anyway, I thought everything considered, I always thought that it would be appropriate to retire, to honor him and what he contributed to the team and to the community. But whenever I remember bringing that up when I was still working on TSN radio, and boy, did I get shouted down. What's the matter with you? What do you mean?
Here's the thing, and I'm not a big sports guy, and I don't know facts, and I don't care too much about those things. But when you're talking about a team like Montreal, with all the history, with all the stars, and all the champions that have crossed through Montreal, and then you're talking about retiring Saku Koivu's number, immediately you have all these people that are going to start referring to these other people. They're like, yeah, but what about these other guys that haven't yet had their number retired? I read an article just recently after we saw the thing with Chris Chelios, wondering why hasn't Montreal retired his number, and then Steve Shutt's name came up, and then there's all these names. If you go back,
Steve Shutt is legit. You could make a legit case for Steve Shutt. I don't know if Chelios was with the Canadians long enough.
Well, he did win a Stanley. He won two Stanley Cups. No, he was with us in '93, I think.
No,
he wasn't.
That was the year he was traded.
Oh, okay.
Because Denis Savard, for whom he was traded, was on the '93 Stanley Cup winning team. Chelios was here, I think, for about not even a decade. His '84 was his rookie year, and he was traded in '93. And he had a good run, but. Again, just my opinion, and this is coming from the idiot who thinks they should retire Koivu's number. I don't think he was here long enough to warrant jersey retirement.
Well, he's our
Shutt, though, you could make a good case for Shutt, that's for sure.
Well, it mentioned it in the news. I can't remember where I read it. And this always happens, right? Whenever some player gets his number retired, you have all these teams. Well, what about our guy? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And Montreal, I mean, there's been so many stars over here, with a history of this franchise. And it's easy to dismiss the Koivu thing because you have so many other potentials kind of waiting on the list.
Yeah.
And I don't even know them. That's how bad I am.
Chelios was also a Chicago native, or is a Chicago native, and I think that probably factored into it as well.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, because he played, I don't know how long he played in Chicago, because he ended up in Detroit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Chicago might have been his shortest stop in his NHL
How many cups?
career.
Did he win a cup with Detroit?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, because Detroit was winning cups like there was no tomorrow back in the day. Back in the 90s, when Scotty Bowman was coaching them, they won a shit.
With Yzerman.
Yeah. Chris Chelios, as they call him in the vernacular. Chris Chelios. God rest his soul. I used to love listening to Pierre Hood, Yvan Pedneau.
Yvan, yeah.
He was so great. He was so, like, you never had to...
That duel was amazing.
Yeah, and you never had to read between the lines with Pedneau. He'd be, quel mauvais jeu par Brisbois.
What a duo.
Yeah, so he was with Chicago from he was traded even before 93. So he only spent 7 seasons with the Canadians, traded to Chicago in the 90-91 season, and was with the Blackhawks not even for a decade, and then went to Detroit. And what a long career he had, though. He was playing like well into his 40s.
Yeah, he was a beast. There was a video on a not a spinning bike, but a stationary bike in a sauna. Have you seen that video?
No.
Yeah, there's a video of him.
Like in a sauna where it's 1,000,000 degrees?
And he's on a bike, yeah.
Yeah, three-time Norris...
Who's this? Chris Chelios.
Three-time Norris Trophy winner as the NHL's best defenseman. And let's see how many Stanley Cups he won. Hang on, let me look that up here.
Let me guess, 4.
How many Stanley Cups did Chris Chelios win?
Chelios won one with the Canadians, and however many he won with the Red Wings. He didn't win any with the Blackhawks. Chris Chelios, 3-time Stanley Cup champion.
3.
Once with the Canadians, twice with Detroit.
That's not bad.
Yeah. That's 3 more than most guys win.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. 3 more than I've won. How many have you won, Poseidon?
What's the Stanley?
17.
Actually, there's a...
Who has the record, for most Stanley Cup victories? Is it
Henri Richard, I believe.
Richard?
Yeah.
It has to be a
Canadian. I think he's got 11.
Jesus.
Cornway had 10. Did I ever tell you my Yvon Cornway golfing story?
The golf story, yeah, that's fucking
You want to play right now? I'm just
Henri
kidding.
Richard with 11. Then
There you
it's
go.
Jean Beliveau with 10. Ivan Cournoyer with 10. Claude Provost 9. Maurice Richard 8.
They're all Canadians.
How is he mispronouncing all these French names? He grew up here. Claude Provost.
Claude
You mean Claude
Provost.
Provo?
Provost, Ivan
Kornoyer.
Make it fucking Russian. Ivan Kornoyevsky.
Kornoyev.
Maurice Richard.
Morris Richard.
No, it's Maurice Richard.
Maurice.
Richard.
Oh, jeez. What were you saying? Sorry, I cut you off.
I don't know. You know, Rocket Richard got turned down for military service in World War II because he had flat feet.
Oh, really?
He wanted to go fight. Like he wanted to, because that's the way guys were back then. Hey, you know, if you don't go fight, you're a pussy.
Yeah.
He tried to sign up, and there was something with his feet. It might have been flat feet, and they turned him down, so he had to stay here and win Stanley Cups.
Yeah. Poor him.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I met him one time on a plane. Yeah. What a thrill that was. I'm standing in Chicago.
He was a little guy, though. He wasn't.
He wasn't huge.
Yeah.
Neither was Henri. But we're going to Chicago. The plane lands, and I'm standing in the aisle waiting to get off. And I turn around behind me. It's fucking Rocket Richard standing there. And I was like, "Holy shit!" And so I stuck my hand out. And, Mr. Richard, nice to meet you. He shakes my hand and he blushes because he's humble.
Yeah.
He was a humble guy. You know. He was, he was like, you're Rocket Richard, man. You're the greatest of all time. And he was like, that's what I do. I play hockey.
I ran into Ken Dryden at one of these political events because he was elected.
That's right. He was a Liberal MP. Was he a minister at one point?
No, I don't think so.
No,
I don't
just
think
an
so. No.
MP? Anyway.
So, and he was over here. It was one of Justin Trudeau's events that we were at, whatever. And I turn around and he's right behind me. This guy is a monster.
Yeah, he's like 6'4".
Holy
like
shit!
Yeah, he's
just
big man.
huge build.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, Ken Dryden. Hi. I didn't know what the fuck to say.
Yeah. Was he nice?
Yeah, very nice.
Good.
He goes, hi, nice to see you. This is a classic politician line. Nice to see you.
Yeah.
'Cause they don't know if they've seen you before or whatever. They don't want to look stupid, Like, hey, nice to see you.
My friend and former colleague Murray Sheriffs, I don't remember the exact details of the story, but when Ken Dryden was still playing, Murray was covering a Canadiens game one night, and post-game interviews, there's a scrum around Ken Dryden, and Murray asked him something, and it was it was not a good question, and Dryden basically told him to go fuck himself. I don't remember exactly.
I'm guessing they had lost.
Yeah, but Murray asked the wrong question or used the wrong tone or whatever, and Dryden let him have it. Another guy I used to work with, John Hinnon, once interviewed Mickey Mantle way back when the Toronto Blue Jays first, in their infancy, like that might even have been their first season, and Mickey Mantle was in Toronto to promote the fact that Major League Baseball was coming to Toronto. And John said to Mickey Mantle, he's interviewing, Mantle's retired by this point. John said, Mickey, it's well known that you're one of the great home run hitters of all time, but what people might not know is that you also struck out more than anybody in the history of Major League Baseball. And Mickey Mantle says to him, why don't you go home and jerk off every night?
Oh, my God.
I guess the interview's over, isn't Mick? Yeah, pretty much.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
I ran into Serge Savard. That's another monster.
Yeah.
His
head weighs more than I do.
No, but it's enormous.
Yeah.
He's huge.
Yeah.
I used to work at the restaurant on the ground floor of the old Holiday Inn on Sherbrooke. It was called Ace Deli. I was a waiter there, busboy, whatever. I spent a couple of years there. And he used to come quite often because there was like a little lounge section.
Where about, which part of Sherbrooke Street?
Sherbrooke and Park Avenue. Just
okay,
just there.
Yeah.
It's not Holiday Inn anymore. I don't know what the hell it's called now. And they had the restaurant, and next to the restaurant they had a little lounge bar thing, and they had the machines, and he used to come to gamble there. I don't know why there. I don't know if he had shares in the Holiday Inn but he was there quite a few times. I saw him there.
Girlfriend.
Maybe, who knows? But he was huge.
Yeah.
A huge fucking guy.
Big man.
Huge. He would just walk in, just an imposing figure. What the fuck? With a huge head.
I think you were turned on.
Yeah, I don't know.
And is this when he was the general manager of the Canadiens,
Maybe.
like in the 80s?
No.
In the 80s?
This is when did I work there? In 2000s.
Oh, okay.
Between 2000
he
and
would have been retired by
2004
then.
around there. Yeah, no, he was retired.
Yeah.
For sure, he wasn't playing. Obviously he's well.
No, I mean retired as an executive as well.
Was he? I don't know. In the 2000s, maybe he was still involved. I don't remember.
Yeah, at what level, I don't know. Anyway.
Whatever. He's a huge fucking guy.
Yeah.
Huge.
Just talk to him. Hey, Serge.
No.
Hey, George.
Let's talk a little bit about, since we're talking about Trudeau's embarrassments and in general Canada's fucking horrible track record. And it's funny because only the French media has been talking about this. And it's funny because they have this very ironic approach, very sarcastic approach. And they're like Mario Dumont on LCN. He's like, well, we're celebrating here in Canada, huge anniversary here in Canada, 8 years, 8-year anniversary of the failed Phoenix system. The Phoenix system is this payroll software that Trudeau tried to fix, or he implemented. It was right after he got elected in 2015, 16. And it's the payroll system of every, not every federal employee, because some aren't, but the majority of the employees working for the federal government get paid through the system. And it's been one huge fuck up. Huge. Either they don't get their pay, either they don't get enough, some get way more.
So it still exists?
And it's still going on. It's still going on. It's been 8 years. They're trying to figure out why a software can't compile the correct information to send out fucking pays to I don't know how many tens of thousands of people. Can you imagine?
But somebody got rich off the government contract for it, no doubt.
I don't know. I don't know. But it's cost taxpayers. Search how much has Phoenix cost us.
Yeah, and that money's going somewhere. It's going in somebody's pockets.
I don't know what is so complicated. And again, maybe it's complicated and we just don't know because I have no idea about these sort of thing.
$2 billion.
$2 billion.
Where do you sign
it
up
has led
for
to
that?
compensation problems for hundreds of thousands of government workers and has cost the government more than $2 billion.
And again, that money's going somewhere.
Wow.
That money's,
People trying to fix.
it doesn't just evaporate into thin air. It goes in somebody's pocket.
8 years. How do you, how? Like how?
Well,
there's no other question. Like how? How is this happening?
Incompetence or corruption or a combination of the two.
How can we're in 2024, man.
What's the company responsible for making Phoenix?
I don't know if it's government run. I don't know. I have no idea how it works.
Yeah, but they had to hire a
Maybe
company.
it's those same two dudes in the basement in,
basement.
Ottawa who got the
yeah, bro, yeah. Just high-fiving themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, you would think that at the time that we're living in with so much advancement in technology.
Sanctuary AI.
Sanctuary AI?
No, that doesn't seem right. Hold on.
AI, AI didn't exist in 15, 16. But yeah, you would think that you can get it right. I mean, it's not the biggest. I mean, there's much bigger companies that have way more employees.
IBM. Using PeopleSoft software. Yeah. So, provided by IBM in June 2011 using PeopleSoft software and
Just scrap the fucking thing.
And run by Public Services and Procurement Canada.
You would imagine that when you were approaching the $1 billion mark, you'd think that maybe we should just scrap the whole fucking thing and start fresh with something else. I don't know. I don't even know what the hell is out there.
What was the point of bringing it in the first place? How was it going to be better than what already existed?
I think Harper made the initial change.
They were supposed to save $70 million a year or something in payment processing. Or
Yeah,
hasn't quite worked out, eh?
No. $2 billion later. Incredible. So yeah, so the French media is making fun of it. They're like, 8-year anniversary. Just rubbing it in their face.
You know, as soon as you brought up the French media, that made me wonder. You follow the French media more than I
Yes.
do. I believe that the English media, mainstream media, is a slave to the Trudeau government and pushes the government narrative as much as it can. Is the French media the same or not? So, or are they more unbiased?
I think they are. Well, no, there's no such thing. Look, if you read the Journal de Montréal, it tends to lean more separatist, but you have some liberals writing in the Journal de Montréal. But a lot of the noise comes from this anti-Canada thing, and
Still, eh?
Yeah.
And who's that? Is that like Richard Martineau?
His wife.
Yeah. Who's his wife?
I forget her name.
Does she? And she writes for the Journal as well.
Yeah. She's on TV as well. Fuck, what's her name? I can't forget her name. Whatever.
Is she the one that tried to bang Sugar Sammy?
No, I don't think so. You had Denise Bombardier there, but then you had like the La Presse, which was owned by Power Corporation, the Desmarais family, and they were traditionally more liberal. You had Le Devoir also, that was pretty liberal as well.
But is their reporting, for the most part, is it still ethical journalism? Because I don't see a lot of ethical journalism on the English side.
It depends, because now the last couple of years we've transitioned from journalists. I mean, there's still journalists out there to having experts, commentators. Former political advisors, those kind of guys, and they give them a lot of room. You have a guy like Mathieu Bocoté, who is the fucking sick in the head for sovereignty, and he's been called an extremist. This guy works out of France in one of these ultra right wing channels.
Who does he write for?
He writes in the Journal de Montréal. Okay. He's a commentator.
I know the name.
Yeah.
He works from France.
Very recently, he moved to France. He got this huge deal over there. He works for this major channel, making a lot of money, but he still contributes to Quebec. He's on LCN a lot. He's one of those panelists with Paul Larocque on La Joute, and he writes in the paper. So no, you have the media here that is very polarizing, but I appreciate the French media a lot more. There's a lot more variety, I think, and
so different perspectives,
and it still works. It still works here, man. We've said this so many times. The radio stations are making money.
Yep.
The TV is doing well. Québécois still is running newspapers. When La Presse has closed down, Le Devoir is struggling. The Journal de Montréal is still being printed. It still works for them.
That's crazy.
It's still the most read newspaper in Quebec.
Yeah. You end up with black ink all over your fingertips. If
like La Presse, La Presse stopped printing. They don't print anymore. It's all La Presse Plus.
I know, it's all online.
It's all on the app.
Yeah.
And the transition, they were only printing on Saturday, I think, and now there's nothing at all.
Yeah.
Is Le Devoir, I think Le Devoir also stopped printing. I think that too is only online.
Really,
I think. I'm not sure. Yeah. I could be wrong on that.
Within the last year, I accidentally bought Le Devoir, thinking I was buying the Weekend Gazette for the crossword puzzles, and I got home and I get, it's Le Devoir. I can't do a French crossword. I don't, unless it's chien.
Shaw.
Yeah.
So maybe they still print, but I heard that they're having some hard time as well. But when you have giants like that, right, like La Presse fucking closing shop, well, they didn't close shop, but they cut down a lot of operations. You're
and
wondering
that means a lot of job loss.
For sure. And then you're wondering, how the hell is Journal de Montréal still surviving? So it works. Something works in Quebec in terms of media. And remember last time when we had that whole conversation on CBC and the funding that they're getting, and how in Quebec they have 40% market share compared to like almost nothing in the rest of Canada. Mm-hmm. It works in Quebec. Media still works in Quebec. People still tune in. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. I was working on my French last week. Mm-hmm. I got on text, I got one of those scam notifications.
How do you get those, man?
I don't know. It's probably all the porn that I surf on the internet. So I got a text that said notification de stationnement impayé. Veuillez régler le montant du sur, and then they have the link. Afin d'inviter des frais supplémentaires. And so I responded, notification de mangement cool pour 25 sous. Arachide non inclus. That's pretty good, eh?
That's fine. That's good, yeah.
Oh my God, man! Just listening to you read that.
My bad French.
It's the best.
Yeah, but it's fun to practice my French doing that. Yeah, I enjoyed that quite a bit.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What do we close on, guys?
When I get scam, because I still get phone calls from scam callers, I say the most ridiculous things where I breathe heavy. I just breathe because the thing is, because they pretend
Like the ones where they say we've seized a package at the border and stay online for the next available customs.
You actually
agent.
stay and go through that shit.
Well, when I'm driving, right, I have nothing
my
better to do
God.
when I'm driving.
I don't
right?
get those anymore. I just get the online ones.
Because what they have is because I can hear them breathing on the other end. Because the way it works, when they play the message, the automated message, they have it on their computer, but they're still there. It's not like an automated message, it's a machine, and then they pick up. So I can hear them breathing. So I go. So sometimes yeah, baby, like that, and then I just hear click and they hang up. Or sometimes they'll answer. I'll wait till the automated message finishes, and I go, "Oh yeah, daddy, yeah."
Oh my God.
Or then I'll hit them back with a, "Oh my God, what the fuck, man? Another fucking scam call." Like I'll just start doing an accent. And they get so angry. Sometimes they yell at me. They go, "Fuck you, man. Fuck your mother." And they go,
it all comes from that part of the world too, eh?
That's not very appropriate for a Canada customs agent, you know. I'm going to tell the RCMP about this.
or the best is, "Hello, my name is Larry."
Larry. Sure it is.
My name is Larry.
Larry Anderson? Like nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I want to talk to you guys right before we go. I want to talk about the third link there, that tunnel that Legault went back on. But then there's
City?
something, in Quebec City. But then there's something else happening this week. Actually, there's a lot of shit. Fuck, we don't have time. Let's go on very quickly. Okay, McGill and Concordia are suing the government.
They're suing the government?
They're suing the government of
provincial
Quebec,
government?
the provincial government of Quebec, because they believe that the decision they made to hike the tuition for non-resident students
from outside
exactly
Quebec. Yeah.
is
Anti-constitutional?
Is anti-constitutional. It's discriminatory, and it'll be interesting to follow.
Now, is that the sort of thing that could drag through the courts for years and years?
Maybe. Who knows? I just wonder that if it's in court, can they apply the tuition hike, or they have to wait for a decision? Maybe it's a strategic thing that they're doing to kind of pause that while the decision is being made. Who knows? But in any case, maybe they have a good case over there, because it made absolutely no sense. So that's it in a nutshell. I want to move on though to another more important thing, and that's happening tomorrow morning.
Wendy's.
Wendy's surge pricing. Let's go get a Baconator while we can, before lunchtime, when the prices are going to surge.
What's happening with that very quickly? Then we'll get on to the other one.
Wendy's has announced they're going to experiment with surge pricing, which is like what Uber does. You know, when demand is high, the price goes up. Wendy's is going to do that with their fast food.
Wendy's is going to go out of business.
Wendy's can fuck off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever had Wendy's. They have one on DeCarry, right?
Yeah.
I've had the Baconator, which is good. That's about it.
Yeah. Anyway, that's it for Wendy's and their surge pricing. They can blow me. What else?
So tomorrow morning, the Quebec Court of Appeals is going to render its decision on Bill 21. Bill 21 was the law that the CAQ government passed in 2019, I believe. It was soon after they got elected for the first time, which was to ban religious symbols in the public sector. So people working in the public sector that are of at a position of authority can't wear any religious symbols.
Right. And religious symbols would include headscarves.
Well, that's where the controversy came in, because it's like, how do you define a religious symbol, right?
Yeah.
So obviously headscarves, crosses, anything considered a religious symbol.
Yarmulkes.
I'm going to start open carrying guns and say it's a religious symbol.
Now they knew that this was a discriminatory law. They knew that it wouldn't pass the test, and they knew that it was against the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. So they invoked immediately
the notwithstanding
clause across the board, right, on all articles. It's like we're invoking it preemptively, just you guys should know. Here's our bill. Oh, by the way, we're invoking the notwithstanding clause before even the bill was fucking read in Parliament, whatever. And what happens is that the notwithstanding clause is valid for 5 years, and then you can renew it. So in 2019, they tabled the bill, it passed, they invoked the notwithstanding clause, so that's up for renewal this year in June. And last week or 2 weeks ago, they presented a motion in the House to renew the notwithstanding clause. I think it passed. All this falls at this time right now. And you have the Quebec Court of Appeal, I think from last time, from 2019, look how long it's taken, right? Where they were looking into this law, and they're going to come out with their decision tomorrow morning. So it's very interesting to see. And the reason why it's interesting to see, we had all the leaders of the parties on our podcast, and one of them, Gabriel Nadeau-Dubois from Quebec Solidaire, came and said, which made absolutely no sense to me, but this is the position, I think, with what's going to happen tomorrow. I'm guessing that they're going to say that it's non-constitutional, that it's discriminatory. But in any case, it doesn't change anything because they're invoking the notwithstanding clause.
Right.
But where I find interesting is that Quebec Solidaire is probably going to benefit from that decision, because what they came out and said 2 weeks ago or last week, they said, look, what we're proposing is that we're going to vote in favor with a CAC's proposition to renew the notwithstanding clause under one condition, that they revoke the notwithstanding clause from the Quebec Charter of Rights and Freedoms, because there's two charters. Quebec has its own Charter of Rights and Freedoms, which actually was created before the federal Charter of Rights and Freedoms. So what Legault did, not only did he invoke the notwithstanding clause, but he applied it on both Charters of Rights and Freedoms. So you can't challenge.
So he was piling on.
Yeah. So you can't challenge this at the federal court, and you can't challenge it in Quebec as well. So Quebec Solidaire's approach was, you want us to vote in favor of the renewal? Okay, we'll do it. But condition, you remove the notwithstanding clause in the Quebec Charter of Rights and Freedoms. And we had him on the podcast, and I go, it doesn't really make sense what you're proposing, because the whole point of the notwithstanding clause is so that a bill not get challenged in court. So how can you on one hand say we'll vote in favor of the renewal of the notwithstanding clause, but we want it to be challenged? It makes no sense. So finally, it was a pretty calm discussion, but I figure that it's politically motivated, right? I mean, it's all ideological. They know that it's not going to pass. But if tomorrow the Quebec Court of Appeal comes out and says that it is discriminatory, it goes against the Charter of Rights and Freedoms of Quebec, watch Gabriel Nadeau-Dubois come out and say, well, we said it, we knew it wouldn't pass the test in Quebec, which is why we were calling on Premier Legault to lift the notwithstanding clause from Quebec so that we can challenge it, and they're going to gain some ground on that, I think. So smart move, makes absolutely no sense, but I think they're going to be able to make some grounds with that.
You all right? Have some water.
Yeah.
Let's go to Marvin's. And we're inviting all fans of the morning show to join us at Marvin's. So we're going to get a table for 5 in case they both show up.
That's funny.
Yeah, all the 2 people that are following the morning show are welcome to Marvin's. If you can make your way there, we'll probably be there around noon. Come say hi, have some good food. Thank you for tuning in today. We'll see you guys all next week. Head on over to patreon.com/Pantelis. Find yourself a plan, subscribe, help us out over here. Subscribe to this channel. Follow Poseidon, I'mPoseidon.com, the Poseidon69, Ted Bird, every morning. You can check him out on the radio.
Light 106.7 and Light 98.5 in Ottawa.
And the Standing By podcast coming soon, just in a couple of months. And if you know or understand French, head on over to Politiquement Parlant and help us grow that channel as well. Thank you all so much. Hopefully we'll see you at Marvin's today. If not, we'll see you next week. Ciao.